तो निर्मला सीतारमण जी ने आज बजट पेश किया और बजट ऐसा बताया जा रहा है जानकारों के हिसाब से कि एक ग्रोथ ओरिएंटेड बजट है, जिसमें भले ही उन्होंने फिस्कल डिफिसिट में थोड़ा स्लिपेज हुआ, लेकिन ग्रोथ के प्रति ज्यादा टारगेट रहा है एफएम का। तो हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं सीआईआई से बी त्यागराजन जी, जो कि ब्लू स्टार के मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर भी हैं। त्यागराजन जी, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है हमारे शो पे। हमारे दर्शकों को बताइए कि आपका ओवरऑल टेक बजट से क्या है।
Good evening, Piyush. It is a pleasure to talk to you. So you mentioned first about the minor deficit in the the deviation from the fiscal deficit target. So look at that. The entire COVID-related measures, whatever the government took, including the vaccination, nothing has been passed on to the people at all or the corporates. So therefore, the government has managed that as well as many other incentives they have given, and to that extent, the fiscal deficit target being achieved is commendable. So that's how I would like to open. Now, we in CII and many industry players see this budget as indeed a growth-oriented one. Most importantly, it is in the same direction and consistent. And now, if you compare last year to this year, it flows from that. Now, we are, as a country, economy growing at over 8%, and we think it is important for India to remember that we are just at FY19 levels. We need to keep up this momentum for few more years. For 5-6 years, we should. That's how China grew. Now, if we were to do that, we were expecting these kind of measures. The number one is have a fiscal prudence that is being addressed. Two, go ahead and ensure that employment is generated. That means there is a capex investment from the government, and at the same time ensure that the private sector also invests. The private sector cannot be a spectator expecting the government to be investing. Now, in most of the sectors, we are finding that the capex cycle is coming back. And they were waiting, the pandemic delayed that, and always there is a lag. Second one is the PLI schemes. Now, the PLI schemes of the industry have been done very intelligently, and it is going to yield a lot of results. You will see in the coming months what kind of investments are going to take place there. Now, the third part is that digitizing India and going ahead and ensuring ease of doing business is addressed. And the quite a few bottlenecks like the logistics, which we are struggling with, these things are being addressed. Agriculture is addressed, education is addressed, healthcare is addressed. I don't think we can ask for more, is my view. And one would, if at all you ask me that what I expected didn't happen, it will be just connected with R&D and innovation. But otherwise, most of the things CII asked for as a part of the pre-budget memorandum has been taken care of by the government. Okay.
So do you think that government has done a commendable job in terms of increasing the capex by 35% to more than 7 lakh crores? So is it going to revive the investment cycle from India Inc. as well? Because similar around 5.5 lakh crore was announced in last year's budget also. But we didn't see the private sector coming up and investing in a big way, the way they should have done.
Definitely it will happen. I told you there is a time lag. So you have capacity at around 70-75% utilization. Then the pandemic comes 2 consecutive years, and then you are boosting the demand by infrastructure spending. From the spending to this, it is going to take place. I'm telling you, in our B2B business as Blue Star, the number of inquiries that we have for infrastructure projects, be it water or power or manufacturing units, it is huge. I have not seen in the past 5-6 years such kind of inquiries, people rushing to set up the products. AC industry itself, For many years, we were keeping the same capacity, 10 plus 12. If you recollect, we were all like gypsies moving from some Dadra to, Himachal Pradesh, Banti. Like that, we will move around for this small, small concession. Now, the PLI scheme has opened our eyes to look at much larger plants, like a 1 million unit plant Blue Star is setting up, and so are our competitors. So in about another 12 to 18 months time, you will see doubling the capacity of air conditioners itself. So I'm telling one industry, the same is going to happen. Perhaps auto is yet to take off. There are many reasons, like whether the demand has come back, whether you have the components ecosystem like the semiconductor shortage, etc. But all these will go away because all said and done, we are not in the normal period. We are fighting the pandemic, simultaneously driving the economy. So I think this whole 7.50 lakhs, which is 35.4% more than last year, you will see the effect of last year investment translating into capex requirement. If it is infrastructure, many items, right? Steel, the cement, so many things are going to be consumed by the government. And believe me that the import also is coming down in many, many areas, that we are becoming self-reliant. Such a large country, I think it will take at least another 1 year to 18 months for us to see on ground so many things that are happening.
So last year budget, when it was announced, it was anticipated by the World Bank, and our own economy survey then reflected that would be growing around 12%. But this year we are going to close it with like 9.5%, maybe due to the second wave of the pandemic and the third wave, Omicron, which is right now we are going through. Given that we are getting projection of like 8.5% growth for the next year, what are the headwinds that you see as the challenges to the economy?
First thing that I see is that the execution efficiency, that the projects are announced, how fast we will go ahead and implement. And so if you see the revenue side, a substantial amount will have to come from also privatization. So there is a huge gap between the targets and what is being achieved. So that revenue side, one, the efficiency in closing those deals and getting, like LIC itself is also taking time. So therefore, one part of it. The second one is, how do you have the complete machinery, the bureaucracy, private sector, everyone, the states, all of them coming together to ensure that the projects are completed on time. So this is the second part of it. Historically, we had weakness in that, but I am seeing some kind of change. The speed with which things are getting closed. I often quote again the PLI example. All the PLI schemes were done within 12 months of time. There were pandemic disruptions, discussions took place, schemes announced, cabinet approval, going ahead and ensuring that it is operationalized. So therefore, execution, we should keep a focus. The third part is managing the pandemic. We are not yet fully out of the pandemic. So we should continue the vaccination drive. We should watch out for another wave, and how we will go ahead and create the healthcare infrastructure so that the disruptions are minimal. Now, you will also, when you are growing at that pace of economy, you will have the skill gaps as well. There is going to be talent shortage across all levels. So how fast we will be able to deal with it, that is also an important thing. And these days, you cannot rule out the issues connected with the climate change. Every year you get into some situation of floods, cyclones, and other stuff. When you are that kind of an economy, you should be able to handle these things very efficiently. These are all the points that we need to do.
So very good to take up from your points that you said from the execution point of view. Last year also around 5.5 lakh crore of capex was announced in the infrastructure sector mostly, but we see that only half of them we can go through. Beyond, they are still lagging behind. So how to bridge this gap?
See, there is no magic solution for this. The number one is whether there is a very clear accountability. I think Prime Minister is directly reviewing this, and I know quite a few ministries are very particular about these projects are happening on time. This is the first part of it. The second part is from CII. We had asked also, it is an accrual based accounting. It is not the cash based accounting which government is doing, that can bring in some kind of a real thing, right? That actually what you are going ahead and accruing in terms of your spends and the income. The next part of it is the private sector also, in the sense the role that we all have to play in ensuring that we contribute to the growth of the economy. So you will see a sea change in that. No longer you will find we are asking for this reduction, that reduction, this incentive and all that stuff. The narrative has changed to say that, look, we want ease of doing business, we want the stability in terms of policy and direction, and we want the reforms to continue. That's all had been our theme. And lastly, I am also of the opinion that much of the time this year went in handling the agriculture issue. Basically, the dispute with regard to the farm laws, and in the process, many other things didn't take place. So if this budget provides for quite a few of agri-infrastructure creation, modernization of agriculture, and agriculture also have to play an important role there.
Correct. So if we have to place this 8.5% of growth to, like, if we have to compare it with global economies, can we safely say India is one of the fastest growing economies globally?
You can say so, and the fact of the matter is we are on a smaller base, right? So encouragement is needed. We have to pat ourselves. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But fact of the matter is we have a lot more to do in nation building. A lot more to do in terms of delivering innovation. A lot more to do in order to connect with the global supply chains. So I know for sure the air conditioning industry. So, like for example, I don't think the players in India lack anything in terms of technical capabilities. They are great. I have no problem with that at all. The sheer issue is the scale. That China manufactures more than 100 million air conditioners. India market size itself is 7 million. It is struggling to cross 7 million. So a 100 million player, 7 million, that he produces air conditioners like a ballpoint pen. And you have to compete with them. So which means you have a lot more to cover. So we can say we are fastest to growing. That is important for us to encourage ourselves, but we have a lot more to do. In eradicating the poverty, bringing up the people and building cities, the rural development, many things are yet to be done. And for that, this 8% growth is very important. Consistently, we do that so that we are able to see a great India. In a manner of speaking, 75th year of independence, a second consecutive budget is looking at building India. It is not throwing some, this budget is not some flamboyant one. This budget is not some slogans. This budget is not, creating sensational issue. It is a result-oriented budget with a deep level of commitment, seriously building India and taking it to the future.
But sir, you cannot build India without taking into MSMEs, who account for around 30% of the GDP. There were some announcement pertaining to MSME sector in this budget, encouraging them. But sir, what is your take on the poor state of affairs that MSMEs have been going through? On one side, we see rising India, signing India in terms of startup ecosystem, where 79, 80 unicorns are created in the last 1 year. On the other side, we see this MSME as a backbone of the economy. They are struggling. Why is this difference?
So there is truth in what you are saying. At the same time, I'm only telling that it is not that all others are also doing that. There are quite a few industries which are struggling. If you look at the profit margins, there is a struggle there. because the cost of doing business in India is very high. Ease of doing business, quite a bit more needs to be done. And what we have to look at is that, is it better than the previous year? I have a feeling that year on year we are becoming better. So MSME, something more has been done. And imagine, again I'm reminding, it is a period of pandemic in which we have been struggling to keep up the economy, and we have done well in that respect. Now, MSMEs will, it is a mutually, it is important that the big corporates do well in order MSMEs do well. It is important that MSMEs do well, therefore big corporates also doing well. Now, the measures that are done may not be good enough, but I think quite a few of the recommendations have been accepted by the government, and we are far better than what we were. Like, many things are not being publicized, that the government has come out with a new way of finalizing tenders. No longer they have to go in for L vendor. It is not necessary a vendor has to be L1. Now, MSME related payment mechanism, quite a bit of reforms have been done. And I do agree that private sector also has a played a role in mentoring and hand-holding them. And I know for sure that whether the private sector is doing its job well in terms of making payments and the credit support to the MSMEs, there are gaps out there that also will have to improve. And I think compared with what was 5 years, every year it has been improving. Some more announcements have been made today. Say, for example, the insurance bond in place of bank guarantee, or the credit guarantee scheme being extended by 1 more year. So these things also should help them.
So mostly what I see, the government is trying to address to the MSMEs is like by way of providing them credit. I agree that working capital is like one of the key problems that MSMEs face. In that case, players like you or the larger companies, the payment cycle needs to be revived. Say, Blue Star giving a payment to their payment once A supplier is indirectly then paying to the B supplier. Then see the entire ecosystem works like this, and there is a huge lag. It goes up to 6 months. See, if you release a payment today, the type 4 supplier will receive it after 6 months. So for this 6 month of thing, he'll die.
I think that is the biggest thing, not only in terms of credit required for running the business. You look at it, my friends' counterparts working in Europe or Japan or Korea or United States, they don't have some work called chasing payments. Yeah, in a company, 7 out of 10 people are chasing payments all the time. And only in India it happens. So payment is something which is due to the vendor if he is doing his job. But what is legitimately due to you, collecting money in India is a big thing. And you go and inquire every company, the salesperson's job or a product management, product head, business head, everybody is chasing payment for more than 30-40% of their time. That is the issue. And so therefore, in a MSME, the owner or the CEO is going to be wasting his time chasing the payment. Not only private sector, getting money from the government also in quite a few cases are very, very difficult.
So how do you resolve this issue? This is one of the key challenges that they face. What is the solution for this?
So we have asked for, there is an announcement that e-bill will be electronically, digitally processing of the bills will have to come in. Now the tendering process has been defined completely, and that is to be operationalized. And then you have got addressing the grievances of the MSMEs. The system has to be rejigged in order to ensure that no MSME is at any point of a time chasing the payments. It is improving. Yeah, the fact of the matter is the statutory auditors are supposed to be verifying whether the companies are going ahead and ensuring that the payments are done on time. So this it is a very important issue, that why companies in India will have to waste their time chasing the payment.
Changing payment, correct. So this is one issue. One other issue where we feel that MSMEs are not, they are having problem in scaling up. They are having problem in getting a technological advancement, buying technology. So the this overall digital India thing, unless they all become go digital and technologically upgrade themselves, and so this is also another challenge that is preventing their scale up mission.
See, I'm also of the view that everything has not happened through the budget. We wait for 1st February to be saying everything is right or wrong, but there are a number of measures that can be taken post the budget also. Now, one of the recommendations that we have got is the funds of fund scheme, through which the funding for MSMEs for technology upgradation, like Industry 4.0, must be done. Okay. Now, I mentioned to you, one of the things we had recommended from CIA is to create a technology mission, and through which the R&D part has to be addressed. That unless and until R&D investments go up dramatically by private sector as well as the government, our manufacturing growth is a big question mark. We need to do that. It's not only government, private sector also will have to. I mentioned to you, whether it is Korea, whether it is Japan, whether it is China, they took off once they have invested in R&D. Now, in that R&D innovation ecosystem, that MSMEs also should be integrated there.
Okay. Sir, overall, if I have to ask you, what are your three key takeaways from this union budget?
Number one is that indeed, as she mentioned, that it is keeping in mind 25-year plan. In fact, Prime Minister went on to say it is a building investing for 100 years of India. At least it is a 25-year it is a plan. It is number one. Number two, there is great deal of continuity in ensuring that we maintain the fiscal prudence and at the same time invest in infrastructure and reform in order to attract investments by private sector and multinationals for building India's growth story. And the third one is the sustainability. And that piece I will put together the modern India where it is digital, inclusion, sustainability, green, everything come together. So these are the three key takeaways.
So on the taxation front, we didn't see much in terms of corporate tax or even a personal income tax. Were you not disappointed, or at least the big boys of India Inc.?
I don't think so at all. The question is that it is unfair to expect. So I told you that so much money have been spent in managing the pandemic. So vaccinating this country is not a easy job. It's an expensive proposition. Many incentives have been given during this. I don't think we should be looking forward to those kind of things. The key thing is that whether you are doing right things for providing the growth, then the private sector will grow and they will be able to make their profits and provide returns to the shareholders. So therefore, we are not. If at all we ask for simplification of rules and decriminalization, how you can do business easily, that part only we are not going to ask for any kind of concessions out there. Okay, even this new manufacturing companies 15% extended by 1 year is a surprise in the sense that it is good. Some more investments will flow in, but it was not the demand from many of us. The personal income tax, at least it is not increased. And the question is that whether there is one school of thought by doing something in the lower category. I've seen post-budget reactions in many quarters that the middle class is completely left out. Now, the government believes in ensuring that there is a growth, there is spending in capex, therefore the money will flow into the individuals for them to spend. Okay, this is one part of it. Now, I want to repeat this again. Any PLI scheme, that PLI money eventually goes to the customer. It is not the company can take it at all. Because a PLI is paid to me only on incremental sale I do. So in air conditioning industry, if so many people have invested, all of them have to earn PLI, they have to grow. So they are going to drive the growth, which means they will build the scale, bring down the prices. So the affordability will definitely go away. Every PLI has shown this, that you are going to make the product cheaper in India. So therefore, affordability will come through indirect means also. So frankly, we are not disappointed that nothing has been done in terms of corporate tax or the individual income tax.
Okay. So one interesting thing that we saw in this budget, many were not perhaps expecting, is that tax on digital or virtual assets. Does that mean government is going to accept cryptocurrencies as a legal tender, as a legal asset class?
My own take is, I think other than the government, central banks, cryptocurrency, all other things, there will be taxation. I don't think they will leave that out at all. It will be when other things, assets are being taxed, why that will not be taxed?
No, there was a debate that whether to ban crypto assets in India or not. But now this tax has come in. So does that mean even if this crypto regulation bill is not approved, this taxation is announced in the budget? That does that mean crypto as an asset has become legal now? They have
I think,
legalized it.
yeah, it is legitimized.
True.
The bill will come definitely. I don't think that they will leave that out.
Okay. Sir, one last question. If I have to ask you to rate this budget on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate it?
I would like to rate it as 8.
8. Thank you, Mr. Thiagarajan, for joining us. It was nice talking to you, and hope the capex announced by the government and the PLI schemes help you and our economy in reviving.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure interacting with you.
Same here, sir. Thank you, sir.
ABP News, आपको रखे आगे।